out to talk about what kind of degrees can you get in the medical field, and I know some of you were interested in that, and then all of you got invited. So just, you can certainly ask questions, and I'll talk to the best of my ability about it. Living in an area like this, kind of rural, right? One of the best ways to get it, if you want to stay in the area, is to go into the medical field. And I was thinking, when I was in high school, my dad was a veterinarian, and I had worked at his office, so I knew I didn't want to be a veterinarian. I didn't like really working with cats and dogs, but I was thinking about pre-med, and I was actually thinking about something medical, and all he said is don't go into nursing because doctors treat nurses badly. And so then I thought, well, I guess I have to be a doctor. So I went through 3 years of pre-med, and then I thought, I don't really want to be a doctor. And I didn't know what to do, right? So I got a degree in biology and chemistry. I didn't really like teaching those topics. So then I went a whole different direction. Many years later, I am now an advisor at the community college. So I help students choose the pathway that they want to go in the specific classes. But I didn't realize that there's a lot more to being in the medical field than just doctor or nurse. Can you all give me a few things off the top of your head of how you can work in a medical career, but not just in doctor or nurse? Do you have any ideas?
Surgeon?
Yeah, surgeon, which is a doctor, right? A very specific doctor.
First responders.
What did you say?
First responders. Fire
Yeah,
department.
right. First responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics.
EMT.
Yes, EMT. And what are some other ways?
I couldn't find this. Pharmacists?
Pharmacists, yes.
Combat medic?
Yes, being in combat. I think other things that I didn't realize is like physical therapy, right? You're working with people, you're helping them get better. What else? Can you think of anything else? Someone that maybe a relative does a job or you've heard of a job? I'm gonna have to look on my screen because I had like a bazillion, and I'll just name some of them. So when I was doing some searches, actually, there's a career called child life specialist, and they work in hospitals with kids that are sick, but they don't do medical things, but they help the kid feel comfortable and be okay in the hospital, but they don't do any of the doctor or nursing. Dietitians.
Would search and rescue be considered medical field?
It could be, right? You're not really in the medical, but you do apply that first responder if you need to. Being, the MRIs that you get, or the, sonography stuff, we have degrees for that in our state, where you can work doing that side.
I just heard someone say X-ray technician.
Yes, X-ray technician. Let's see. There's being that physician's assistant. So when you go into the doctor and the person that takes you in and takes your blood pressure and temperature, that's a medical assistant, right? So you're a medical assistant. Physician's assistant is you're under a doctor, you're not quite a doctor, but you are doing a lot of things that physicians do. What else do we have? Speech therapy, right? Helping little kids or maybe people that have had strokes learn to talk again or to talk for the first time. And then we have kind of this whole side that's not really in the medical, but it's also medical, like chiropractor, right? Naturopath. People that like alternative medicines, you can go into that. So there's lots of degrees. And I wanted to also tell you about what can you do if you want to just stay in this area. What kind of degrees could you get and what kind of jobs could you get? And at the community college in Coos Bay, we have several programs. Does anyone know what kind of programs we offer there at the community college? If you wanted to study? We have a nursing program. How long are you in school with that nursing program? Any ideas?
6 months to a year.
Longer than that? Uh-huh.
2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's 2 to 3 years. You take about a year of what they call prerequisites, so classes that you take before you get in. You apply to the nursing program, and if you get accepted, then you've got 2 more years to be an RN or a registered nurse. And the cool thing is, I've had students at Winter Lakes take some of those prerequisite classes while they're still in high school. And then they don't have 3 years, maybe they have 2.5 years. I actually had one student who got all the prerequisites done. It took her an extra year to get into nursing school, but she only had the 2 years after high school to finish her nursing degree. She's actually there right now studying. Where, if you're a registered nurse, where are places that you could work? Where do nurses work? Hospitals? Where else? Where do they work? Brandy?
Oh, I'm not very
Give us an idea.
school.
At schools?
Let's see here. I worked in skilled nursing facilities, so like rehabilitation after surgeries, like after hips or knees or anything. ORs or surgery centers, eye surgery centers even. Sometimes they have nurses that work there. They have nurses that work for case management for like home health or wound care, outpatient infusion, sites that do like chemotherapy or cancer treatment. There's nurses there. There's lots of jobs.
Hospice.
Hospice.
So if they all, people who are on the last sites in their life, there's nurses who work there, nursing homes, lots of places. And there's a lot of different types of jobs you can get with nursing. Like you can work 2 days a week. You can work 3 days a week. You can work 4 days a week. You can work with a private physician, right? Just in his office. So there's a lot of different, you could be a travel nurse, traveling to different communities, getting paid a lot of money, and then taking time off to come back home. So there's lots of different options. The other degree, well, we have several. We have an EMT or Emergency Medical Services degree, and then that can also lead to becoming a paramedic. So the EMS degree is 1 year, and then the paramedic is a 2-year program. And I just was talking to the lead of that program yesterday, and she said, we have a shortage of paramedics in our area. So there's a lot of opportunities there. We also have a shortage of nurses in our area, so there's a lot of opportunities there for careers. And that EMT and I have brochures for those too, and the nursing, but they also have some of the classes that you can take while you're in high school. So if you wanted to, and the nice thing about it is your school and the other high schools in Oregon get funding from the state to help pay for that. So your school pays for those college classes. You get credit, and then when you finish high school, you don't have as long of a journey after high school to finish a degree. That's my phone. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is we have some shorter programs too. We have a dental assistant program there. And what is a dental assistant? Yes, they're the person that when you're actually getting your cavity filled or you're getting a crown, they're that person that is helping the dentist. And so that program just takes 1 year at SWAC. If you ever come for a tour there, we've got dental chairs, a full dental lab. It looks like you're actually going to the dentist. And we've had that program and it kind of fizzled away, and now we've got it in a brand new remodel, looks amazing. And so we have a dental assistant. And then we also have, in Oregon, you can be a dental hygienist, right? And the hygienist is the one that cleans your teeth. And so a dental assistant is a 1-year program. A dental hygienist is about 3 years because you take prerequisites and then 2 years after. You can take all the prereqs, the classes that you need to get into the program at this community college, which means you could take some of them while you're in high school still, and then you apply over in Klamath Falls at OIT, right, Oregon Institute of Technology. And the other type of career or thing we have is medical assistant, right? Maybe I talked about that. That's the 1-year program. And that's that person that when you go to the doctor, they take your blood pressure, they take your temperature, they get everything set for the doctor to come in. So that's just a 1-year certificate. And there's jobs in our area in that. And they don't make a bad salary, right? So the salary in almost any medical field is pretty solid. The more education you have, usually the higher the salary. Connected to OIT is the dental hygienist, the one that cleans your teeth, and you can take the prerequisites at the community college and also any of the medical imaging. So if you're interested in like being that x-ray technician or doing the sonography or doing the CAT scans and all that, that's over at OIT where you finish, but you can start at this community college with those and then go over there. Questions for me about salaries, about length of school?
Whatever here. How long would it take to become a full doctor?
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk about that. Thank you for bringing that up. So if you wanted, here, this is kind of, it's funny to me, but it may not be funny to you all. I had a student at Marshfield who told me she wanted to go to SWAC and she wanted to major in neurosurgery because she wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And I was like, well, we don't really have that major, right? That's like a very specialty thing. But the way you become a physician is if you go to a college after high school, right? You can go to the community college and then finish at a 4-year college like OSU, U of O, Western, Eastern, Southern. And then after you get your bachelor's degree, you study for a particular test called the MCAT. You have to do well on that MCAT test, and then you apply to, as many medical schools as you can, and you get into one of those. And then you have 4 years at that medical school. And then depending what kind of specialty, if you want to do a specialty, then you have more training. So depending how specialized you want to be, it can be, 10 years of school or more. Typically, you would get your medical degree after 8 years. 4 years of bachelor and then 4 more years, and then specialized training. Do you need to be a straight A student to, say, get into the nursing program at SWAC. Actually, yes and no. When they're looking at you getting into that program, they don't look at your high school classes. They don't look at any college classes that you've taken except the ones that they want you to take, the prerequisites. Those prerequisites, they want you to have as high scores as you can on those. So if you get A's and B's in those classes, then you've got a better chance of getting in. Other questions for me? Let's see what I haven't told you. Because I had a whole presentation, but technology. One of the barriers to going to college, well, my husband went to college, but his dad was kind of like, I suppose you can go, I'll sign this FAFSA form for you, I'd rather you just get a job, right? So his family, and when I'd gone to college, he was like the first one, and so it was strange for his family. So sometimes it's just like, it's not what our family does, right? But if it's what you want to do, you can step out, you can make a change. Two, a lot of times it's scary because of the money, right? Nobody wants to go in debt to go to college. We've all been scared about how much debt you're going to get. And it is true, it's expensive, but a couple ways to help you pay for it, I'll tell you. If you started your community college, and then transfer to a 4-year if you're going to get a bachelor's degree, it is cheaper at the community college. If you have a high GPA, you can go to SWAC, the community college in Coos Bay, for free. If you have a 3.75, you have no tuition for 2 years, basically, no tuition at all. If you're not that good at school, but you still want to go to college, Oregon has a deal, and they said, hey, if a high school student wants to go to community college and they have a 2.0 is a C average, then we will pay their tuition for, we'll pay 3/4 of their tuition basically for 2 years. So that's a good deal too, right? There's grants. Grants are money that's given to you. Scholarships is money that's given to you. And then loans, you have to pay it back. So what we do is help you get as many grants and scholarships as you can. Try to keep a low tuition.
That is doable. My niece just finished her doctorate, so there's nothing but grants and
For doctorate.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that too, like the degrees that you can get a certificate, right? Like a dental assistant would be a certification or certificate. An EMT would be a certificate or a certification. And then the next step from that would be an associate degree, which is a 2-year degree. The nursing is an associate degree. The paramedicine is an associate degree. If you're going to go to SWAC and then go on and be a doctor, you get your associate degree. Then the next degree up is a bachelor's, which is typically 4 years. And then a master's is 2 years beyond that, and then the PhD is higher, or it could be an MD, a medical doctor, or it could be an ND, a naturopath doctor, or it could be a physical therapy is now a doctorate degree. So there's a lot of doctoral degrees. How many of you were interested in this presentation? many of you were not interested in this presentation, but now are a tiny bit interested. Nice. 1, 2. So, of course, I took some, we have tours that you can come to campus. You can come with your school if they'll organize a tour. You can also just come, you can email me and I will take you on a tour of the campus. I'll take you up, down to the dental assisting, up to the nursing, whatever, and I can show you all that's there. If you want to ever come over to campus, I'll take them a tour, we can talk about it. I can help you kind of navigate. So, what other things? This is kind of personal, but I have a master's degree and I work as an advisor. And so that's 6 years of college for me. I was looking at the dental assisting and the medical assisting. 1 year, they make about as much as I do. So, it's, you know, if you want a pretty good salary, not a great salary, but a pretty good salary and not a lot of school, those are kind of nice options because it's just 1 year after high school.
We have Nurse Brandy here to chat a little bit too. You want to talk in the front? And then if you have more that you want to do as well. It's hard without having a presentation.
Oh, I know.
Know where you're at.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I was just here to talk about nursing in general. I haven't tell up my job. I've been a nurse for 22 years. I worked anywhere from dementia care facility to skilled nursing for like post-op patients to a post-surgical unit. And now school nursing. I'm an open book if you guys have any questions. I got my associate's degree through a community college and then I transferred on and I got my master's in nursing.
How long did it go to that team?
Well, my life was a little bit different. I was a single mom when I went to start nursing school. So I had to work full-time, went to school full-time, and raised my daughter. So until I could go to school full-time, it was part-time. So I think it took me about 4 or 5 years to get my associate's degree, 4. And then I did my bachelor's and my master's online. So those took about a year for my bachelor's, and then I'm a little chaotic and pulled a lot of all-nighters, and I actually got my master's in about 6 months. So all inclusive, I get 4, 5, 6 years from start to finish. But my path is different. I had to start part-time because I had to work full-time and she's 26 now.
But that tells us that that also is a valid way to earn that.
It is an absolute
education
valid way.
and
I am not one that is ready to hear excuses as to why going to school is hard. You set your mind to it. The way I always viewed it was, this time is going to go by no matter what, right? It might seem like a big mountain, but these next 4 years are going to go by. No matter what, you're going to be 22, 25, whatever, in 4 years, you know, by the time you're done with school. And by the end of this, do I want to have my degree? Or do I want to just be wishing that I had started 4 years ago? So that's how I did it. That's when I decided to go after my bachelor's, and then I was like, well, why not? Let's go for it. So that's it.
Questions?
No?
Do you have more?
I'll say, we start out, sometimes you start out, you know exactly what you want to do. Like I wanted to be a doctor, right? And then I changed and I taught English as a second language at Oregon State, at Northern Arizona University, and overseas for like 20 years. So you think you know, life turns, life twists, and you end up doing something else, but it's okay, right? Just me having the bachelor's degree, I had a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry, that opened a lot of doors. So finishing your high school diploma and getting that will open some doors. Getting an associate degree will open some doors. Getting certificates will open doors. It's just the way kind of our society is. We like to see the certificates, the degrees, and then, going on, and you do get knowledge. And the nice thing is, when you're at college, you kind of just see different things, right? And you can explore. A lot of times, students will come to even the community college or four-year school, and they don't know what they want to do. My youngest son was one of them. He didn't know. So he took an exploratory year, they call it. He took core classes and a few classes that were meant to do I want to do this or this? And he figured it out. He graduated. He's a big guy now. He took out some loans. He paid them back. So it's very possible to not know what you want to do, but still you take that step, and then you're like, okay, now I've narrowed it down to 2 or 3 things. Let's explore a little bit more, and you take another step. And then you know what you want to do, and then life changes, and you turn, and you go a different way. It's okay, right? It's okay not to know. It's okay, but it's still, even if you don't know, it doesn't mean you can't try to figure it out and go. So, but again, I just want to encourage you, you don't have to be thinking about 12 years of school, right? You can be thinking about a 1-year certificate. I just spoke with a friend of mine who is a pediatrician, which is a children's doctor in Coos Bay, and she said a lot of those people that have that medical assistant in her office, the 1 year, they're now going to be quitting and going to nursing school. So they got some experience, they realized, I want to do more, right? I want to do more. So you can start with a certificate and then work up, or you can do that certificate and stay and be very content. It's okay to start slow or have big dreams, like I want to major in neurosurgery, and I have to tell them we don't have that major. We start more general. But do your best, reach out to me. Shanda, Miss Laney, and Miss Knightley have my email if you want to talk to me more. If you want to learn a little bit more about I'm sort of interested in that dental assistant. What classes could I take while I'm in high school to knock a few out of the way? Feel free to get my contact information from them. I'll come out here, I'll meet with you individually, or if you want to talk right